Hello and welcome to the BS Podcast, where we talk the absurd, the ridiculous, and yes, the bullshit. Hi, I'm Dave. Joining me is my fellow connoisseur in bullshit, Mr. Zach. Zach, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad. Just a solid not bad, Dave. How about you?
I'm doing, I'd say, just a notch above not bad. So, okay. Is that
Yeah, all right.
How's you haven't, before we get into, we are counting down our top 5 stories of bullshit over the last few days. We scour the internet, everybody. We find the most absurd and ridiculous stories to discuss here. Have a little bit of a laugh, right, Zach?
That's right. Yeah.
Any hyper local BS you want to get into before we get into our topics?
Oh man, where do I begin? I had some plumbing issues, over last week near the weekend. I think it was just a clogged toilet in the basement. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I was trying to plunge it out, it didn't work. So I'm like, my wife has a habit of like flushing a whole roll of toilet paper down the toilet. So it's figured that's what it was. So I'm sitting there, plunger, it's not working. So I get like my auger and like my toilet. And I'm like, it's just a little 6-foot one, and I'm like, nothing's pulling out. So I'm like, all right, there's like a clog somewhere down in my line. So my brother-in-law, who is he like snakes drains for a living, he was like, I'll come over and bring like my 15-foot, good auger, and we'll see what's in there. Pulled out a bunch of tree roots.
Oh, really?
My line. So I got like a fucking tree roots going into my sewer line somewhere, which is god awful. So that's like a pain in the ass. So
somewhere under your foundation or something?
Yeah, or the line in my front yard. So somewhere right there, I got a tree in my front yard, so it could be coming from that and going right into the line.
So you were ready to blame your wife, Zach, and instead it's a force of nature.
Yeah, instead it's a force of nature. So, we pulled out the roots, and I'm like, you know what? I got some like sewer line root killer. I'm like, we just pulled out the clog, and I'm like flushing that down there daily just to try to kill what's left. I'm like, I'll worry about it. I'll worry about it at the time. If it gets to the point where like my shower in the basement starts to like overflow or something, then I'll get someone to dig it up and fix it. But that's such a big job. I don't want to do that right now. So
no, that
sucks. So I'm just putting some root killer down the old pipes, trying to hopefully knock it out that way first.
I didn't even know that existed. So it's just some crazy chemical that
pretty much just rock salt.
What does it mean? Wait, so do you have a leak? What happens when the roots die? What will
I don't know. I guess just because it's all underground, you know what I mean? And I don't know. So I'm sure that it's going to have to be replaced eventually. But for right now, it'll do.
What a pain in the neck, man. That's not something to you want to have in the back of your mind every time you flush the toilet.
Flush the toilet, yeah.
Or
I know,
take a shower.
exactly. Yeah.
Now I have because you mentioned toilet paper. I have switched my source of. I was trying to put it this way. I use baby wipes. Now they say on the package that they're not flushable.
No.
But I disregard that warning every time.
See, if you get roots in your line, then that's going to be a problem, Dave.
You think I'm playing a dangerous game with that?
Yeah, you're playing dangerous. You never know. You don't know what's in those pipes down there.
Well, I could just always buy some flushable weed killer, which sounds fun to just buy and use it anyways.
Yeah.
Or maybe preventative maintenance. I don't know. But all right. So, on my side, I'm good. I don't have any real complaints. I'm feeling good. Life's pretty good. Just a little funny thing. We're getting some cooler weather here in Florida, which means it's lower than oppressive humidity and at times under 80 degrees. So at walking my dog last night, I briefly considered if I should put on a hoodie.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I tell you what, man, we have just been having a lovely fall weather in Maryland so far. Today is the first day of fall as we're recording this, and we went. I went apple picking on Saturday, man. It was lovely.
It's a beautiful time, isn't it?
Yeah, daytime high was like 64, I think. Man, it was great.
I can't wait for that weather to come here. I'm definitely tired of the summer. Now, do you think it's a false fall? I know you said that before.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a cold front. It's going to get back up near 80 this week, I think.
Okay.
So,
well, that concludes weather talk here on the BS Pod. Let's move on to our top 5 stories of the week. Zach, let's get to the first one. A story here out of San Francisco, SF Gate, San Francisco Gate. Uh, electric fence deters Trump sign thieves. This is actually a story out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. As a Massachusetts man tired of people stealing his Donald Trump campaign sign has come up with a shocking solution: an electrified fence around it. It says he's a disabled Navy vet, and he's really. Every time he would put up a Trump sign, some jackass would go over there and steal it. So he's come up with a solution. We got a picture here that we can share. Now, I mean, this one isn't subtle at all, at all, is it?
Oh yeah, he's not trying to trick people. It would have been great if he would have somehow figured out how to hide it, so that way he could trick people into getting shocked.
Yeah,
I guess he's not trying to kill anybody. He's just saying like, "Don't fuck with my sign."
Yeah, it's a clear warning. Now, I guess what you could really even do is put up like the sign that they had at Jurassic Park or something, like warning high voltage or whatever those scary signs are.
Yeah, it could just be nothing. It could just be a regular fence, and you put up a high voltage sign. Does anyone really want to test that?
No.
Right? Does anyone really want to test that he's bluffing? I don't think so. Unless, I don't know if you could throw something at it, but I don't know.
Oh, I think that's a great point. Yeah, maybe just you got the news media out there. Just don't touch it, or you get electrified. Yeah. Just like the cord just runs to nothing.
Yeah, I want to know, like, do political signs really even do anything?
I don't know. That's a
like I've never like driven down the street and been like, "Oh, Biden sign, I'm going to vote for Biden." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would think because everybody knows Trump and Biden, right? Maybe for like,
I feel like it does more for like
more
local, people that you might have never heard of.
Yeah. What do you think? By the way, on that, you don't have to tell me who you vote for or anything like that, but you are a voter, right?
Yeah.
How do you determine local elections? Is it by party? Is it by random draw?
Sometimes it's by party. Sometimes it ends up being like if I know in advance. There are times when I'll see like local people signs, and I'll be like, "Hey, what's this person? What do they believe in?" And I'll just kind of like look them up a little bit before the polls. I try to stay as informed as possible before I actually go there and vote.
But it's difficult, isn't it?
It's so difficult. Yeah. Sometimes they catch you on a whim, like, "Oh fuck, I didn't know we were voting on this," and you got to sit there and take the time to think about it. But
for me, I'll look. There was one. I guess last cycle in 2016. Well, I voted in 2018 as well, but I don't know what my method was. But I think I would look, school board something, and I think the local news like Tampa Bay Times or something will have a little bit of a write up on each person. But it's just basically what the campaign puts out for either side. Either the person that says they're going to do this really good thing, or the person that says they're going to do that really good thing, and it is kind of hard to decide. I will give you one example of where. It was a mosquito control officer or something for the county. And there was two candidates, I believe. And one of the candidates had Skeeter as a nickname. And I said, I'm just voting for Skeeter.
Yeah, that's a great name. Get Skeeter in office.
Seems like the right man for the job, right?
Oh, man.
But it is tricky because we don't see typically debates, at that level. I mean, you will for governor and maybe for Senate or something like that. But even then, who's tuning in? So I do wonder if it just becomes it's hard to really figure who to pick. And I think most of the time it probably comes down to party line votes. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. Yeah, people. I think 90% of the country probably comes down to party line votes for every single office.
The president, right?
No, yeah. Trump, president, Republican. Check mark, or Biden, Democrat, check mark. You know what I mean? It's
I'm voting
that's just how we vote in the country. That's just how bipartisanship works. But
two parties.
Yeah, and back to like the guys protecting his Trump sign in his front yard. It's like the same thing on both sides. I was telling you about a TikTok I saw where a guy had a Biden sign in his front yard that kept getting destroyed. And the way he deterred people was he put another sign next to his Biden sign that said, "If you destroy or steal my sign, I will donate $50 to Planned Parenthood." And his sign was like completely fine after that.
No one's going to touch it.
No one's going to touch it at that point. Good. Because I feel like everyone stealing that sign doesn't like Planned Parenthood. So they were like,
that's
all right.
That's a great one. Yeah.
I want to know. I was thinking about this when you sent me this story. I want to know what's going to happen on election night because like I remember when I was growing up, I lived right across the street from a middle school that was always the polling place. So it's like every day, like on election day, you would like wake up and there would just be like political signs everywhere. You know what I mean? Just to try to get people in to vote. I want to know, like, on election night this year, what it's going to be like in the middle of the night when people come to like destroy the signs. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have a group of Trump supporters there to like destroy the Biden signs, and you're going to have a group of Biden supporters there to destroy the Trump signs, and then they're going to like see each other. We're going to have like battlegrounds happening at like polling places. Like, I don't know if you saw Gangs of New York, but do you remember like the scene where there was like a fire going on? Yeah. And like both fire brigades showed up to put out the fire, and they started fighting each other instead of putting out the fire. Like, I wonder if that's what's going to happen overnight, the night before election, which it's just.
Well, it's going to see, which group has electrified their fences more.
Yeah.
Do you have any campaign signs in your neighborhood, or if it's that allowed? Or
do not? No, it's allowed. The only people that I've ever seen signs for moved. We had a family that lived 2 houses down, and they always had up Biden signs before they moved. Last election, they had up Hillary signs before they, when they still lived there. But that was it. I've never seen any other political signs in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I got one Trump sign in my neighborhood so far. I don't think it's electrified, but it's been in place.
Why don't you go test it? Go see if it
go
is.
See. And I guess you are putting yourself out there, right? You're declaring yourself, for a team basically, and. You get victory or defeat, either one. It's a bit of a, I don't want to call it a bold move, but you are putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
You're wondering, to the extent that they influence. Some people would say that it's a measure of enthusiasm, but I don't know that does it really translate into votes. I would probably say no. I mean, unless it gives, maybe, I don't know. Is there an undecided voter out there who drives by and goes, "Wow, there's a lot of Trump signs. I better vote for Trump," or Biden signs, or the opposite? I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I guess it's no different than hanging out a Baltimore Ravens flag in my front yard. So we have a flag with sports in our front yard. We change out every sports season, so it goes between Ravens to Capitals to Orioles. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, so
that makes sense in that point of view.
But you haven't declared your political team, which is good. We try to be as I don't know if nonpartisan. Nonpartisan isn't the what are we? We're independent, right? We don't declare for a candidate. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
we don't endorse anybody. We talk to everybody. I talked to Green Party candidate Howie Hawkins, talked to Constitution Party nominee Don Blankenship, Joe Biden. I don't think he's coming. Trump probably not, but we're working on that, right?
We're working on it. Yeah, we've got to reach out to Trump's people.
Yeah, come on and talk. I'll ask him about the signs.
Yeah.
So now this is nothing new. Sign stealing has become a thing, and it's I think after all the unrest and the contentiousness of this election season, it's intensified. But this also happened in the 2016 cycle. There's a number of stories around here, and we've actually have some pretty good video of what some people did to protect their signs. Let's cut to this one.
This is surveillance video of someone trying to steal this homemade Donald Trump sign from Mike Horn's
broad daylight too.
I know, you got cars going by.
Because it's our right as United States citizens.
How about this guy,
to be able to voice our opinion on how we want to vote.
But the would-be thief didn't get very far
like a
because
kid.
the sign is padlocked to
a
hole. Now Horton beat into the ground himself to keep people from stealing it.
Right here is a steel rod that you can't see that I beat into the ground.
So you beat a steel rod into the ground?
Very inventive of him.
I'm a journeyman iron worker. I can beat anything. I've been on iron my whole life.
Last Thursday was the third time in about a month that Horton and his wife found the sign on the
ground. I want
to
find this man.
This is what the kid probably did.
Me too.
He went like this, and he ran like this, and he went.
Oh man, we got to get this guy on the show, Dave. We got to find out this guy. We got to see if any of his signs for this election.
We got to reach out to him. Yeah.
Trump in the neighborhood is sad and disgusting. But it didn't stop Horton from putting up another Trump sign.
It's actually not a bad idea.
I don't really know why I like him, but everything that comes out of his mouth, almost everything that comes out of his mouth, I agree with.
Which is enough reason for Horton to keep his sign up.
I unlock it and take it in every night and baby it, put it in a safe little spot.
Oh man,
that's great.
That's
and we have one more on topic. This one's hilarious too.
Look at what happens when
Oh.
A Trump sign
He got
on his
zapped.
neighbor's lawn. Watch this.
And he runs away.
All right, so there's no stamp, but you can see the guy running on the lawn.
How'd he get
Trying
zapped?
to steal the sign.
No, I guess this one was
booby trapped somehow.
Now, yeah, so this one is more. That's hilarious. So
he booby trapped it.
now this one is more subtle, Zach. This one
Yeah.
doesn't have the big electrified fence around it. There's some hidden device under there.
Yeah,
Right?
they're trying to get you. That's great. I don't know why. This makes me think of this one time in high school when I was a senior. These a friend of mine was pulling a prank on me, and he went around to stores that have like signs like that just for their businesses, and he took like 20 of them and like surrounded my car with them. So like I got up to go to school the next day, and there was just like nothing but like signs like surrounded my car, so I couldn't get out. It was really good.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Is this? You think someone could face charges for this with having?
I mean, it's private property.
Because he shouldn't be there anyways, right?
Yeah, it's private property,
Well,
right?
what if? What if there's a bear trap in your lawn? I mean, at what point is this reasonable? I don't know.
Oh man, I guess that's going to come down to your local jurisdictions. Because obviously, it's not like a situation where your life's being threatened. I guess it depends on how much damage is done to the other person.
Right. So if it's under a certain amount of voltage, maybe it's just a little buzz. Like
Yeah, a little buzz is fine. If you kill the person, if it looks like on Home Alone 1 where what's his face got electrocuted and turned to a skeleton, then that's probably an excessive use of force for sign stealing, and you might go to jail. Why people shouldn't even have to be worrying about this.
This is so petty.
Yeah, that's where the bullshit is. People shouldn't even have to worry about someone stealing their signs.
No.
You know what I mean? Big fucking deal. You guys got a Trump sign in his front yard. You know, big fucking deal. He's got a Biden sign in his front yard. Like, come on, man. Who cares?
You should be able to, pass a house and see a political sign and have it not enrage you and have it not move you to the point where you have to go steal it to make some point. And you shouldn't have to worry about surveilling your own property and coming up with more intricate and potentially harmful ways of preventing people from stealing.
We're gonna see like Indiana Jones stuff next. Like someone's gonna pull the sign out of the ground, and like a gigantic boulder will start like rolling. We'll start like rolling towards them, and then you'll see them like trying to like run away with like the sign in their hand. Like,
well, okay, so maybe maybe because I was thinking like the poison darts when he's running, but maybe just like a tranquilizer dart. I don't know. Maybe that's probably crossing illegal. Well, then again, the rolling ball is crossing some legal line too.
Oh God.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, great one. All right, so you want to give a
yeah, I can go first. I'm gonna go 7.
7. Yeah, I got a 6 on this. This is funny. It's silly. It's really but it gives us a good laugh, even if we were dipping back a little bit to 2016. But I'm sure this is still going on. There's more out there this year. Though I do wonder if people are more shy this year than they were last cycle. People a little bit more. I really don't want to deal with anyone taking my stuff, or it's better to just keep quiet. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I feel like it's worse this election. I mean, we haven't seen any footage, so maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like I feel like I've seen more and more Trump supporters come out since then, and more Biden supporters as well.
That's true.
I feel like after 2016, because in 2016 it was, especially on the Democrat side, it was like Trump's not going to win. Hillary's going to win. So my support, me being loud about it, me, flying a flag, et cetera, it's not going to matter because Trump's going to lose anyway. But then he won. So now I feel like a lot of the Democrats are like, well, Trump won when I was silent. So now we have to be a lot louder type deal.
Do you think there's more worry from Democrats this cycle that they may not win? Even though, if you wouldn't the same. I think the polls are almost the same. Is that maybe the worry, or what do you think they're? So would you say they're less confident or more confident?
I don't know. I would say maybe more confident.
More confident in a Biden win this time.
But I feel like Trump supporters are just as confident as they were in 2016 that he's going to win.
That's true. Yeah, many.
Everyone thinks that their candidate's going to win this year. I just feel like everyone is super loud this year about their candidate.
Nobody wants to lose, right? Everybody, both sides feel like if they lose, like the country's over pretty much.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah, that's right. They're in the second place. In this case, that's actually true.
Yeah.
Zach, let's move on to story number 2. We got our favorite app, TikTok. Zach, the latest trend in this satanic app. TikTok users are shaving down their teeth with nail files. Dentists say it could cause permanent damage. We got a picture here of this new trend. Wow. DIY beauty hacks are like hair dyeing, nail art, and even homemade bathroom products aren't uncommon on TikTok, but a new and disturbing body modification trend has dentists flustered. People are grinding their uneven teeth down with nail files and uploading the videos to the app. Zach, this is just another terrible trend going on.
Another terrible. What is wrong with people, man? I try to defend social media so much as possible, but you assholes are just making it so difficult for me. This is just like the last season of Game of Thrones where I tried to defend it all season, and the writers of that show just made it so difficult for me.
Yeah, there was no. Well, I mean, it wasn't terrible in my opinion, but yes, I agree. It became harder to defend. Well, I mean, they had a story left unfinished by the author and had to cobble together a rushed ending because the author refuses to write anymore. So that became a problem.
Yeah.
Anyways. So yeah, Zach, dentists say this is not a good idea to file your teeth, to wear away the enamel in the hopes for, so you can get likes on your video. That's not a good idea. And number 2.
It's all for, it used to be now, I'm so out of the social loop at this point because I'm getting old, but it used to be do it for the Vine. I don't know if you remember. That's what everyone said. When Vine was big, it was do it for the Vine. Now it's I guess do it for the TikTok, I guess.
Oh my God.
No,
we're still trying to figure out what's going on with this TikTok app, Zach. It was going to be banned and then not, and they're still trying to work out a deal. I guess Trump wants TikTok to be majority owned by American companies, and that's kind of the fight. There's some deal with maybe Walmart and Oracle that's going on. That gets us into the app itself. You found an interesting story from a Reddit user who reverse engineered the app and found a lot of disturbing stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, granted, this was Reddit, so I don't know how much you can truly believe anything on Reddit. But this guy said he's a software engineer, and he reverse engineered the app, and he also kind of reverse engineered Instagram and Facebook and a bunch of other apps.
Yeah.
And he said the amount of data mining that was on TikTok was just outrageous. He compared it to malware. He said it's basically a malware that you're letting your kids install right on their phones.
Yeah. And I got a couple of great quotes here. One is this: TikTok is a data collection service that is thinly veiled as a social network.
Yeah.
If there is an API to get information on you, your contacts, your device, well, they're using it. So they basically, and this actually was one of the concerns from the Trump administration, is privacy and data being sent basically to China. They're getting all this data on teenagers, and it seems like TikTok essentially scrapes your phone for all of your uses, and this data could is probably being made its way to the Chinese government, which is in effect, I mean, if you want to reduce it to that level, is basically TikTok is an espionage arm of the Chinese government.
Yeah. I guess what I think about is what does China do with all that data? How do they use that against us?
I don't know. But I mean, that's a good question. I don't know the privacy concerns about, say, Facebook collecting your data. Well, one, it should be yours. You didn't necessarily give the app permission to have all your data, particularly when many of these users are underage. They didn't ask the parents, hey, can I have all the activity that your kid does on their phone and where they go? I don't know what China's doing with it, but it's probably not a good thing.
Probably not. They're trying to figure out who to send seeds to in the mail is what they're doing, I guess.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out who's going to plant the seeds that they send.
Now that it also it pings your GPS location, gets all the information from all the websites you visit. I mean, that can't be good, right? And then they can let's see. Sorry. Where's this money quote here? Oh, I like this one about, and it speaks to social media in general, particularly, but for TikTok in particular. It says they provide users with a taste of virality to entice them to stay on the platform. Your first TikTok post will likely garner quite a bit of likes, regardless of how good it is, assuming you get past the initial moderation queue. If that's still a thing, most users end up chasing the dragon. So the app itself is
like heroin.
A little fraudulent,
Yeah.
we'll say, that gives you fake likes to give you a false sense of your importance potentially and your popularity to keep you going on the app, right?
Yeah. I know we talked about The Social Dilemma on Netflix. You have not seen it yet, have you?
Not yet.
So one of the really interesting things that they talked about in that documentary was that Gen Z is the first generation to have smartphones and social media while they are in middle school. And they had shown all this correlation to depression and mental illness and suicide and all these like really sad and scary facts.
Yeah.
And I think that's what scared me the most about how like the youth, how it's like affecting kids. Like we're talking about TikTok, kids are filing down their teeth. You know what I mean?
Likes.
For likes, exactly. That's the scariest part for me. I don't give a shit about advertising. Like if Facebook has data and they want to like feed me an ad for something that I know I'm going to like, I don't care about that. Well, I care about like how like it's negatively affecting the youth and like how mentally it's changing who we are as humans, right?
Yeah, I mean those likes are in a way a bit of a drug, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you get kids hooked on it, and then what happens if maybe suddenly you're no longer popular enough, or the TikTok videos you're putting out now aren't getting likes, or you get hate? Do you become then depressed about it? It is a weird phenomenon, and this idea of it really messes with our brains, this kind of a thing. And young kids are not equipped to deal with it. I don't even think people our age are really even equipped to deal with the way. I mean, I would say I'm addicted to Twitter, absolutely. It's just like a reflex. I just check my feed or check, the people I follow and stuff like that. And I just sit there and I scroll through Twitter for a longer time than I want to admit. So I wonder about that. And, I also wonder about how much of all of this stuff that's viral, how legitimate is any of it? I mean, we just have this example here that they manipulate your first TikToks to get you to stay on. I mean, say a TikTok with 1 million views or, a bunch of, or so many thousand likes. How many of those are real? I mean, this makes me wonder too about other social media, like retweets, views on YouTube.
Yeah. So like, are the numbers on our YouTube account real, Dave?
Maybe they're fake.
Yeah, they're all fake.
When you see something go viral, like how true is it? What is there something on the back end that's promoting certain things more than others, and how legitimate is this stuff? At this point, I don't think I'm dubious or that this stuff is legitimate.
Yeah, and that's a good point, especially if you're getting fake likes for things like. It's kind of similar to when we talked about the drill rap thing. Like, what if this whole teeth filing thing started because someone was like, hey, I want to make it look like I'm filing down my teeth. That'll be funny. What if they're not really doing it? They're just pretending to do it, right? And then that gets a ton of likes and goes viral, and someone sees it and they go, hey, I guess we can actually start filing down our teeth now. This person did it, even though they really didn't do it.
So
you know what I mean?
And also, going back a bit, there was they were licking toilets and coughing on each other, and then one of them got COVID and died, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? I mean, it actually becomes dangerous. So I don't know what to do here, but I mean, I think a first step is to not allow this weird stuff going on, and getting data from teenagers, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know that it being in U.S. hands is necessarily better than Chinese hands. I don't think any of it is really all that good.
Absolutely not.
Last thing on this, the last little bit that this guy found says, there's also a ton of creepy old men who have direct access to children on the app. I've personally seen and reported some really suspect stuff. 40 to 50-year-old men getting 8 to 10-year-old girls to do duets with them to sing sexually suggestive songs. These videos are posted quickly, and it's potential for creepy people to prey on young girls and boys.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, if TikTok gets shut down, there'll be another app to fill its void in a couple months.
There will. But maybe something potentially not as manipulative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Maybe if it's something American made and people have seen the controversy around TikTok, maybe they'll be able to take a step back and say, okay, this is what TikTok got wrong. Let's take everything that it did right and build something brand new.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I support any, some kind of, I don't mind regulation of social media when it comes to this stuff, particularly minors. It's all got to be on, there's nothing wrong with an app per se, but it's got to be on the up and up. And, people doing, do you want to call this self-harm? Because it seems like a lot of the stuff not all the stuff, there's a lot of silly dancing videos that go viral and they're completely innocent. But a lot of stuff like this that does go viral might qualify as self-harm to me. It might require some moderation, saying like licking the toilet seat, stuff like that. Would you think maybe things that go viral that can be tied to that like Tide Pods, remember that?
Oh, yeah. It can. But if you're talking about self-harm, go back to when did Jackass start? When did CKY start? You know what I mean? The whole thing of self-harm has been around for a long time, especially when it's humor involved in it.
Yeah. Well, the fight over TikTok, that's the battle of the century, Zach.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to give a rating unless you have anything else on this.
No, you go for it.
All right, I'm going to go 7 here. This is some good medium to high level BS for me. What do you got?
9.
9, yeah. It's right up there.
Yep.
Okay, so that's now
it's fucking stupid. Don't file down your teeth. Idiotic. It's idiotic.
All right, let's move on to topic number 3, Zach. Workers fear humans implanted with microchips will steal their jobs. Story from CNN Business. Workers worry that in the not-so-distant future, they will be sidelined by humans implanted with performance-enhancing microchips. 2/3 of employees believe that by 2035, humans with chips implanted in their bodies will have an unfair advantage in the labor market, according to a Citrix survey of employees in the United States and Europe, shared exclusively to CNN Business. Zach, cyborgs. Is this the future of the workforce?
They're coming. It is. Maybe in the future, that's what we need to do to stay competitive against like advancing robots and like AI.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly. Yeah. You got the thinking capabilities and the common sense of like the human brain, but then if you add like some crazy like cyborg parts that make us like stronger and faster than humans, then faster, so we can compete with robots. Maybe that's how we stay competitive.
Oh my God. We never have to worry about with TikTok corrupting the youth now.
Yeah, now we got to worry about advancing technology to corrupt our bodies.
This says in Sweden, thousands of people have inserted microchips in their hands that could one day replace keys and cards. So I guess maybe you go up to the counter and you.
I love that.
Oh my God.
I love that.
I got a cyborg here.
That's great. Yeah. Like remember in Idiocracy when they had the little like barcode on their wrist and he was like, just scan it to pay. Like, oh, that's great. Just do something like that. I love it. Yeah.
That movie is ridiculous, but a bit prescient, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like when that movie came out, I was like, this is silly. And now we're in 2020 and you watch the movie, you're like, oh my God, this is like the future. This is happening.
So we are headed to Idiocracy, just might as well enjoy the ride. This also says that Elon Musk recently showed a working brain implant in pigs made by Neuralink as his brain computer interface company. So now we're going to have cyborg pigs, Zach.
Yeah. There's a good quote that I found when I was doing some research for this article, and we're going to play a game. I want you to guess who said this quote. Okay. The quote is, advancing technologies are both our savior and our doom. It's a very insightful quote, right?
Who said it?
Yeah, who said it?
Albert Einstein.
Yeah. The snowman character of Olaf from Frozen 2, a Disney Pixar movie. I saw that quote. I'm like, wow, that's insightful as fuck. And it like really makes sense. Who said this? And it was Olaf from the Disney Pixar Frozen 2.
Oh, man.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Thank you all for that insight. I go with, a genius, and you give me Olaf.
Yeah.
But
no, there was an actual quote from this article that's is where my bullshit angle is coming from. Is that the Citrix CEO said robots are not going to replace humans. Technology will make things better and smarter. It's an enabler, not a replacer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is an admirable quote, and I hope that that's true. But I call bullshit on that.
Yeah, I do too.
I think any Fortune 500 company that has the money to spend will quickly replace the human workforce with robots as soon as they can, just to save a couple bucks and fill their pockets more.
100%. Of course they will. That's the name of the game, is to hollow out the workforce in the name of profit, Zach.
Now, how many companies already like send their work over to China because they can just get labor for like pennies? You know what I mean? Just wait till it's robots, and it's even cheaper than having to go to China, right?
Yeah, outsourcing, tech support. This is when people get frustrated when they're talking to someone in a foreign country for tech support, and you can't communicate. Well, why? Because they can hire workers cheaper overseas to give you crappy tech support.
Yeah, and next it's going to be Siri, and then like as we talked about last week, when men are getting turned on by like Siri and Alexa, now you're going to call like your cable company to like fix your cable in the middle of the night, and you're going to start getting turned on because you're going to be talking to Siri or Alexa.
And then what happens when Alexa breaks up with you? You know?
Yeah. Now you got to get upset every time you call to get your cable fixed.
See, I think, Zach, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and I think executives, CEOs, while they may be smarter than the average bear, they're certainly not as smart as a robot and artificial intelligence. So I think we should try out AI and cyborg implantation on CEOs first, see how they fare. Then maybe we just don't need these CEOs. Maybe this can all be run by artificial intelligence as well. What do you think of that? That's a good way of saving money.
That's interesting. You don't need to pay a robot a inflated crazy salary.
Yeah, right? No $2 million bonus for a robot.
Yeah,
I mean that can employ a lot of other people down the line.
No political bias or anything like that. No, you know.
I say we start at the top.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Now, Zach, before we move on here, there's a companion story that we didn't get to, but I wanted to mention. Hog Wild, U.S.'s out of control population of super pigs. Now, when I combine that with Elon Musk demonstrating an implanted AI brain into a pig, could this be the next worry for public safety, that we'll have a bunch of cyborg pigs running around, or potentially could cyborg pigs replace us in the workforce?
Planet of the Pigs. Planet of the Pigs, man. That movie got it wrong. They said it was apes. It's going to be pigs.
It's going to be pigs.
Planet of the Pigs, yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know about this. So you seem to be a little bit more on board than me on this. You're willing to get the chip. I don't think I want the chip unless I really had to.
I'll get it, yeah. How much different of is it than like I look at it the same way of plastic surgery. You know, I mean, it's acceptable for someone in Hollywood to go spend tens of thousands of dollars, you know, and changing their physical appearance.
That's just enhancement?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see.
At least this is something that goes towards more, you know, like actual something you can actually use rather than just vanity. That's
true. What about the idea that people that don't want these implants could become unemployable because basically all the requirements for the job is that you have an implant?
Now that sucks. That's another part of the bullshit. So it's going to be up to the CEOs, the people that own these companies, just to have some kind of moral compass.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. I mean, for my part, I think your point is well taken. But I do think a little bit of collagen isn't quite the same as some interconnected circuitry. But I do take your point. I do worry about this, and I don't believe the assurances that don't worry, you'll still have a job. You know, maybe you can pick up some trash on the street. Although I guess they can just get a robot to do that as well. I don't really know. I don't really know what job is going to be left to do.
Yeah. What about police? What about robot police?
Oh, that could be coming for sure. Actually, we covered that story in South Korea where they sent a robot around a park to tell people to social distance.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Maybe that's a part. Maybe that's how it is. Or, you know, a robot can't, arrest out of racially motivation, right? A robot can't, a robot can always obey their rules and the, laws that they have to follow as a police officer.
Yeah. So yeah, no bias there potentially. I don't know. It doesn't seem like we're going forwards exactly, but that stuff comes. You can't stop it. So
yeah, the train is going to move regardless. So let's adapt.
Well, that's crazy. Well, I just can't imagine getting written a ticket by a robot. That would just something about that feels wrong. But so we'll be there. All right, I'm ready to give a rating here. I'm gonna give this thing a 6. What do you got?
3.
3. Okay, so that's low level for you. This is now in 3rd place. All right, let's round out. We got 2 more topics to hit here. This one is just ridiculous, and I'll say for me already, I'll tip my hand a little bit and say this is high level BS. Story here from New York Post: dentist who extracted tooth on hoverboard. On hoverboard. Sentenced to 12 years in prison. We've got a video here showing that. So here we are. So he's there
Look at that guy.
ripping out some guy's tooth or girl, I don't know what. And he's on a hoverboard. And then he celebrates.
Got the tooth.
Yep, and he texted a friend to the clip saying this is a new level of care. Look at him. He's really proud of himself. Celebration. Great job.
Wow. You know, it's
that's
funny.
Not it.
Yeah. Well, I know before you get to the rest of it, when I saw this article, it was like dentist on hoverboard gets 12 years in prison. I was like, 12 years for riding a hoverboard? And then you read the rest of the article and you go, wow, this guy's a dick.
Yeah. Dozens of charges. Convicted on dozens of charges related to, I believe it was like 47 or something like that, stemming from actions ranging from his scooting antics to Medicaid fraud, removing a patient's teeth without permission. This one guy, he says he pulled out four teeth without his permission, and he was overbilling. Oh, he was pushing IV sedation because so he could rack up the Medicare billing, and just whoever always pushing the sedation. So he gets you under the IV sedation and then goes and rips your teeth out on a hoverboard and celebrates. What a jackass!
Nuts, man. This is like why so many people hate the dentist.
Oh yeah, this guy just shows maybe this is what we all fear is inside a dentist's heart every time we go. Maybe that's why we don't want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the guy who's going to put me under and make a big joke out of my pain and misery, like a sadist.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me of a joke from a Seinfeld episode. What's the difference between a sadist and a dentist?
What?
Better magazines.
That's good.
That's a good one. So this is ridiculous. So now he's sentenced to 12 years. Then he's going to have 10-year probation. And so far the ruling is he won't be able to practice dentistry again. Because at one point he was even practicing without a license. Really just ridiculous. High level BS. You expect at least, especially at dentists where you're afraid, you're going to be in pain, you're going to be uncomfortable, going to have work done. That always sucks. And you walk into the office and it's this freaking guy.
Yeah, right. That sucks, man. I always wonder, I haven't had to get put under for a long time, but I always wonder, what are they saying when you're under and they can't hear you? You know what I mean? What's going I think I have someone in my family that works in law, like in medical malpractice and stuff. And I think there was a story she was telling me about one guy that had he was getting something done, like a colonoscopy maybe, but it wasn't actually, he actually got put under. And he was kind of half waking up and the doctor thought he was still asleep. And the doctor was sitting there talking about how fat he is to making fun of how fat he is to his helper or nurse or whatever. And the guy's laying there waking up and hearing everything. What the hell? You know what I mean? It makes you wonder, what are these doctors actually doing when you go to sleep? And now we have footage of this guy ripping out 4 teeth and riding around in a hoverboard like he's fucking Marty McFly.
We put our trust in these people, and we saw that one. I think we covered a story in a nursing home where that kid got put in there and was beating one guy.
The shit out of the guy.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't a staff member, but that's been prevalent in nursing homes as staff abuse. You give people just a little bit of power over you, and they really run with it, don't they?
I always say, in movies and all, and comedies especially, when there's something along the lines of this, it's this shit happens in real life. That's why it makes it funny. I don't know if you remember Ben Stiller's character in Happy Gilmore when he kept he was the evil old people home thing where he was fucking around with all the old people like that. That actually happens in real life. That's why they made a character about it, because they knew people would relate and laugh at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a real issue. And God, man, I mean, I think, well, I mean, 10 years in prison is good. I mean, I'd say just, you're done.
Yeah. I want to know where this guy got his dental license from. Like, it reminds me of like in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Like at the end when George Clooney is like talking to Holly Hunter and he's like, I'm going legit. I got a guy that's going to get me a fake dentist license. And I'm going to be a dentist. Like, I wonder if he went to the same guy that George
Same
Clooney.
guy, yeah. We just sell it out of the back of a van or something.
He that's why he probably put him to sleep, because that's why he was pushing IV sedation, because he was like, you know what, I need to put these guys under, because he was just going to go grab a pair of pliers and like rip the teeth out. That's like the only thing he knows how to do. So he was like, I'm just going to put them to sleep so they don't realize it.
Dr. Tooth Puller. Yeah. Horrific. So yeah.
Have you ever gotten a tooth pulled?
I have. It's not great.
Yeah. It's not bad. I mean, you are asleep. I mean, I can't remember if I was actually asleep for it. I think I was awake. Yeah, I was awake, and I it was fine.
I mean, they numb you up, but it's still just, not pleasant to have
a lot of cracking and pulling. And,
like,
oh, what is this guy doing?
It's gonna rip my head out. Oh, yeah, weird stuff. All right, I'm ready to give a rating on this. I think it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got 8. I think to me this is high level.
Oh yeah, I got 9.
For the negligence one, and then the betrayal of trust that you put in with a dentist or a doctor, any medical professional, is almost worse than the hoverboard antics. I mean, not professional, but I wouldn't call that criminal. It's just you shouldn't do that. But even then, you're just really let me take that back. You're making light of a situation and in light of someone's medical care, so you can do a hands up as you're.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I thought 12 when I just saw the headline and said 12 years for a hoverboard. I thought that was an excessive. If I went to meet a dentist and he rolled in on a hoverboard, I would laugh my ass off and be like, I like this guy. This guy's pretty cool. Now, granted, I don't know if I'd want him standing over top of me doing oral surgery while he's standing on the hoverboard. But I don't know if that's 12 years of prison worth. Everything else makes 100% sense when you look into everything else he's charged for. But
yeah, fraud, doing things without permission. I mean, and as we learned earlier, our teeth are permanent, and damaging them and getting them ripped out certainly there's no going back there.
We can't file them down?
No, not recommended.
Okay.
What do you have for? Did you give me a 9? Okay. All right, so let's hit our last topic, Zach. Talk a little NFL. It's great that the season is back. We had week 2, and we had a really funny story here out of Sporting News. Carson Wentz gets booed despite Eagles having no fans in the stadium. This is Zach, as we talked about, it's a little weird having almost no fans in the stadium. But I did watch some places it's a little different. Like I saw the Dolphins game. I think they allowed maybe 10% capacity, which is better than nothing. At least there's somebody out there.
Yeah.
Instead of looking like a video game or something.
Well, I guess they figured 10%.
Huh?
Yeah, I guess they figured 10% capacity at the Dolphins is not that much different than a normal Sunday.
Not.
So they're like,
it's not that. And by the way, well, it wasn't super hot there, but I've been to Dolphins Stadium to see a September game. And I think it's the hottest I've ever been in my life.
That sounds awful.
Is before they modified the stadium to put sort of shading over. It's still open air, but put shading over the stands. My wife and I, we were there. We were just baking. I had a beer. The beer, it's not exaggerated. The beer was hot by the time I sat down. It was just fucking hot.
Yeah, you need to be walking around. You can't drink draft. You got to walk around with what are those Yeti koozies?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You that's a necessity down there.
That would have been a better idea. And in fact, we ended up just getting out of our seat and watching on the TV that was just that was in the air conditioned area because it was absolutely miserable.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, as we're here, and it's hard to fill that stadium certainly now. And anyways, we're 0-2. I don't want to talk about the Dolphins. I want to talk about Carson Wentz getting booed by no fans. Zach, we got one video here. By the way, congratulations to your Ravens.
2-0, baby.
All right, so here's
Wentz, too tall for Zach Ertz. And now 4th down.
There it is.
For the Eagles. John Johnson out there in the coverage.
and then we got another one here.
21-3 in this game. Wentz off play action.
That's
looking for the end
picked.
zone, and it's intercepted. Darius Williams with a
And now the boos come in.
in front of J.J. Arthur.
So this
At
is
least it's
controlled by
accurate,
the
'cause
broadcast, Zach. They're
Yeah,
piping. They're
I
piping
mean, at least it's
the boos.
accurate. It's accurate though, because the Eagles fans are very unforgiving and relentless. I mean, there's like a classic tale of like in like I think it was like in 1968, I think, when like Santa Claus came out and like all the fans booed Santa Claus, and there was like a video of this big joke of like that they put out around Christmas time where it was like Santa is like he's never been to an NFL game since because of that. I mean, like they're the fans there are relentless. So it's really nothing different than booing at Carlos Wentz. I mean, there was like I remember I think it was like last year there was a video of Rex Ryan like telling Eagles fans like they have to stop booing him, and so it's pretty crazy. But I think the whole idea of like someone at Fox having the power of like putting artificial boos into is like a dangerous power to have.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, and I'm waiting for someone that whoever has that power is going to use that boo button like just against like the team that they don't like. You know what I mean? Like something good will happen. They'll be like, fuck that. And they'll press the boo button. Or like, you know, you're going to have some asshole behind the control board that's like the Black Lives Matter promos start and he like presses the booze button. Like, yeah, some like asshole starts doing that. It's a dangerous power to have, I think.
I just think it's hilarious. Yeah, and I do wonder what's coming next. Now, this guy, he did, as you point out, though, he took the pulse of the savage Philly fan and just assumed they would be booing the hell out of him.
Yeah. I mean, they were right. I mean, if that stand was full, if those stands were full, it would have sounded exactly the same.
You know what I'm missing in the game. I think they're doing a little bit better job this year. This past week with piping in the noise. The TV experience actually isn't that bad. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
The one thing I'm missing is the crowd. I think, you know, like on the third down, they, you know, were like, if you're a home team, you know, rising up for the defense, there's not enough of that. There's not enough of everything is reactive. And I don't know how you would do this, but like, say, if there's an interception, you know, you need like an instant crowd noise there. Somebody throws a deep pass, there's always like the rise of a crowd as they're, you know, everyone's looking to see if it's going to get caught or intercepted or something like that. I think that's one of the things I always love about watching the game is sort of the rise of the instant reaction of the crowd, not like, well, the boos, I guess, would be one. So maybe we could see an evolution of this, and then maybe we won't even need fans at all.
Oh God, I hope not. I tell you what, I've actually been pretty impressed with the way they've done some pretty interesting thing with camera angles. I think the only time I've really noticed that there wasn't a crowd there is when they're in the red zone. You know, because otherwise the camera angle is just shooting straight down on the field usually, and so you can't really tell, you know, but when they're in the end zone, they're using that back camera that's like pretty much hitting a lot of the stands. That's when you can start to really
you get like that reality of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. You kind of like get lost and you forget, and then you see it shot with no one in the audience. You're like, wait a second, you know what I mean? You have to kind of step back. I just get pissed off because like last week the Ravens were away, but before that opening game, I was like sitting there. I'm like, dude, I should be there right now. You know, I should be like sitting. Yeah. I should be tailgating right now. I was sitting there like I don't know, cooking or doing something, but just getting all pissed off because I was like, fuck, I should, you know, be in the downtown right now.
Yeah. Why can't I be there to watch? I mean, I don't know. You could do. Can't you do 50%? I don't know why you can't.
I don't know. I guess they're just trying to cover their asses.
Yeah. I mean, do you think this is going to be the whole season?
I think so.
Just play it safe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too.
I think this will be the whole season. At least for the Ravens, I think it'll be the full season.
Not even the playoffs?
No.
You think this is affecting the field of play at all? One way or the other?
I think it's done something to home field advantage. I don't think home field advantage is really a thing anymore.
Do you think? No, yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, particularly, yeah. I mean, really loud stadiums like you know, like the Ravens or Pittsburgh or Seattle or New Orleans. Yeah, definitely. I could see that. But then again, you know, I mean, didn't the Patriots go to Seattle and Seattle still pulled it off? I don't know.
Yeah, and the other thing is like I think it does something for the home team, like not just the crowd noise, but also like the whole aspect of playing for fans, right? At the Ravens, it's like they do this gigantic, thing where they announce the players one by one. They come out, everyone cheers. It pumps up the players to the point where now is it like, do they just feel like they're at practice?
Yeah, and I wonder that too, because that's kind of what I was thinking next. Is what happens when fans do come back? Is that gonna be a little different for the players? Are they gonna welcome it, or is it gonna be like will there be an adjustment period? Say, just say, hypothetically, say the playoffs start and we're like, whatever, COVID, go 75%. And then all of a sudden you've been playing to an empty stadium for 16 weeks. And then that first game back, it's a roaring crowd.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would do. It would certainly be interesting because I think that's a part of the game, right? Like you said, it does kind of reduce it to a practice to a bit. The atmosphere, there's not as much tension in the air, which is kind of the thing that we really like.
So that's why they call it the 12th man, right? That's why the audience is called the 12th man at home field advantage, because it does make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Do you want to go ahead and give a rating on this? Do you have any more?
Nope. I'm going to go 2.
I'm pretty low level too. I got
Low
3,
level.
so that's 5. That is in 5th place here on the BS-ometer. We can count these down if you're ready. We got, so Carson Wentz, number 5. Cyborg workforce, number 4. Electrified Trump fence and the schemes around protecting our political fences, number 3. And then we've got TikTok video filing down your teeth. Bad idea, guys, for number 2. And number 1, the bullshittiest story of the week is dentist gets sentenced to 40-some-odd charges for extracting teeth weren't approved, over doing Medicare fraud, and scooting around on a hoverboard. What a jackass.
Oh, I know, yeah.
That is one big pile of shit.
Well, that is our top 5 bullshittiest stories of the week, Zach. I want everyone, if you're watching here on YouTube, to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, also hit the like button, please, and share this video with your friends. And we'd love to hear what you think about all of these topics. Go ahead and comment down below. We'd love to have a great conversation with all of you. And then, Zach, where can they go if they've after they've done us a favor by liking our videos and subscribing? Where else can they check out our stuff?
InformedAmerican.com for everything political, current events. You can go to WallStreetWireNews.com for everything financial, and RealHealthyNews.com for everything health.
Great. For Zach, I'm Dave, and I've had enough of this BS.
You've been listening to the BS Podcast with Dave and Zach, part of the Informed American Radio Network. Please like and subscribe today in order to get fresh new weekly episodes. Please send us your BS stories to info@informedamerican.com. The world is hard enough, and now we gotta deal with this bullshit.